In this video, we will take a look at 3 true tales of buried treasure. These stories are simplified summaries of articles in the February 1993 issue of the magazine Western and Eastern Treasure, written by Bobby McKinney, Gary B. Speck, and Delos Toole. If you'd like to read the original articles, as well as the other pieces which appear in this magazine, please consider purchasing this issue of Western and Eastern Treasure, which you can find by clicking the link in the description. In the days of yore, ere Texas had won her independence, she was but a mere cog in the grand empire of Mexico. In 1821, Mexican land grants were doled out to American settlers, allowing them to establish their homes in this vast swath of land. The colonies burgeoned, and by 1830, Mexican officials fretted over the swelling number of settlers from the United States. They ceased allowing the immigration of settlers to Texas and began to unjustly oppress those already there. Oh, but the Texans were not ones to be oppressed for long. Relations between the settlers and the Mexican officials had been souring for some time, and matters only worsened when General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna seized control and made himself a dictator in 1834. The people of Texas were left with no choice but to rise up against this tyranny. And so, in 1836, they took up arms and fought for their freedom. The Battle of San Jacinto was a pivotal moment in their struggle, as General Sam Houston and his army emerged victorious over Santa Anna and his forces. The Texans had won their independence, and the Republic of Texas was born. But the road to freedom had been long and difficult, and the sacrifices of those who fought and died for it should never be forgotten. The Republic of Texas emerged victorious from the ashes of battle, her people rejoicing as they basked in their newfound freedom. Velasco, a once colonial trading post port, stood proudly on the east bank of the Brazos River. The town had seen her fair share of conflict, a Mexican garrison having been captured during the 1832 Battle of Velasco. In the years that followed, Velasco became a fort for the Republic of Texas, a vital port for her navy. The old forts, perched precariously on the riverbanks, braved the wild storms of the Gulf Coast and, as a result, left scattered relics that were discovered for many years to come. Even during the Civil War, Velasco remained a point of pride for her people, fortified by the Confederates against any who would dare threaten her sovereignty. As we delve into the archives of history, we come across countless tales of destruction caused by the hands of progress. Alas, the same fate awaited the Brazosport archaeological site, marked for doom by a Corps of Engineers expansion project to the river channel. However, the valiant efforts of the local Brazosport Archaeological Society and the Brazosport Museum of Natural Science secured the proper paperwork with the state for an archaeological dig, unearthing ancient relics of a bygone era before time could erase them forever. The excavation team toiled tirelessly, retrieving and restoring as much archaeological evidence as possible, hoping to preserve every fragment of history they could lay their hands on. As they worked, a sense of wonder filled the air, as if the past was speaking to them, sharing its secrets and mysteries. And indeed, the team's dedication and hard work paid off, as they uncovered the log walls of an unknown structure, prompting a full-scale archaeological dig by the state. Through their perseverance and bravery, these heroes of history saved a piece of the past from the jaws of progress. They pieced together a fresh new look on the days of the Texas Republic, and their efforts stand as a testament to the importance of preserving our past. May their story inspire us all to cherish and protect the treasures that time has bequeathed us. On a weekend excursion to the seaside, the writer chanced upon a curious sight. A group of skilled diggers were hard at work, unearthing ancient brick foundations. As the writer drew closer, they recognized the archaeologists as familiar faces from a chance meeting some months prior, through a mutual acquaintance. But it was the contents of a humble plastic bucket that caught their eye. Shattered remnants of a long-forgotten era, emerging from the earth like ghosts from the past. Weeks later, the writer was beckoned to identify some of the unearthed relics, eager to uncover the secrets of a bygone time. The archaeologists had unearthed a treasure trove of ancient relics ranging in age from the 1820s to the 1860s. Among the discoveries were an array of buttons, a baby U.S. belt plate from the year 1839, musket flints, gun parts, and a colossal 20-pounder Parrott shell from the Civil War. The writer, renowned for their restorative abilities, was summoned to work on the Parrott shell, which had been encrusted with a thick concretion. Despite the challenge, the writer was elated by the opportunity to work on such a remarkable artifact. The site continued to produce an abundance of fascinating relics, including mini balls, canister shot, large grape shot, and musket balls, all of which were highly sought after by collectors and historians alike. The broken china sherds that surfaced from the dig were also a fascinating addition to the mix, and the writer eagerly set about identifying these precious pieces of history. As the archaeologists brushed away the dirt, the log walls of a mysterious structure emerged from the ground. News of this discovery quickly spread, prompting the state to launch a full-scale excavation of the site. The excavation team, alongside the Brazosport Archaeological Society, toiled tirelessly in both the field and the lab, their efforts unraveling a fresh new perspective on the days of the Texas Republic. Their excellent work has not gone unnoticed, and they are to be commended for their dedication and skill. The skies were overcast with a hint of rain as we departed from the bustling city of New York, heading towards Philadelphia. Our plan was to explore the ghost sites in the Pine Barrens, but the weather had other plans. As we drove south, the raindrops on the windshield grew to the size of $50. The radio confirmed our fears, reporting that the storm system extended from just south of New York to central Pennsylvania, with locally heavy rains in the coastal areas of New Jersey. Scratch one side trip. But fear not, for New Jersey still had much to offer. Throughout the state, there were many scattered ghost towns that proved interesting to ghost towners. One such town was Speedwell Village in Morris County, a restored community similar to Hopewell Furnace in Pennsylvania. The site of the old ironworks is just west of SH 202, where all that remains of the furnace, workers' cottages, and workshops are a few stone walls. The complex of old buildings now called Speedwell, which includes the restored Vale House and Telegraph Factory, was moved from Morristown. The factory is where Samuel Morse perfected his telegraph, and the site was incorporated in 1966 as a privately owned historic site. The old ironworks was not a forge, but a foundry where pigs of iron were converted to locks, pots, kettles, and so forth. It dated back to the pre-revolutionary days, but it wasn't until 1808, when Stephen Vale purchased the old mill and improved it, that it made money for its owners. The foundry was busy throughout the early 1800s, but in 1873 it closed for good. It was designated a National Historic Site in 1975 and has served as the locus for the redevelopment of the restored community. In the magical land of New Jersey, there are many enchanting places to visit. Take, for instance, Atzion, a small community that has been around since 1776. This bog iron village can be found on SH 206, 9 miles north of Harnmonton. Baker Tavern, an old 1761 tavern located at Hancock's Bridge, south of Wilmington, Delaware, about 5 miles south of Salem, is another mystical place to visit. Batstow, a restored town located on Route 542, east of Harnmonton, is a bog iron village that dates back to the Revolutionary War. Fort Mott, a post-Civil War fort located in the far western tip of the state, along the east side of the Delaware River, south of Wilmington, Delaware, is another wondrous place to visit. Hanover Furnace, another bog iron furnace community, was located about 4 miles east of Brown Mills, which is on Route 530 south of Fort Dix. And if you're in the mood for a magical drink, the Indian King Tavern, an old tavern that dates back to 1750, still contains period furnishings and is typical of the many crossroads taverns that sprang up along travel routes in the 1700s. It is located in Haddonville at 233 E. Kings Highway. Lastly, Ong's Hat, an old village at the westernmost point of the Lebanon State Forest, is located 4 miles east of Burr's Mill, then 2 miles northwest on the Pemberton Road. As we left the enchanting land of New Jersey and spent the night in Philadelphia, we embarked on a journey towards the historic Gettysburg, passing through the charming Harrisburg. The rain ceased, and we sailed through the rolling hills of southeastern Pennsylvania, where numerous ghost towns lay scattered amidst the forested terrain. Albertle's Furnace, a half-dozen miles southwest of Allentown, was a community of old iron forges. Cornwall Furnace, 5 miles south of Lebanon on SH 419, was another old iron furnace community. Eckley, a restored coal mining town, lay east-northeast of Hazleton, southeast of the junction of I-80-I-81. Pine Grove Furnace, another iron furnace community, was about 16 miles southwest of Carlisle. We stumbled upon unnamed Civil War deserter camps along the west side of the Delaware River northeast of Stroudsburg. After leaving Gettysburg, we headed south to Washington, D.C. on US 15, where we discovered the Catoctin Furnace, operating from 1776 to 1903, that produced pig iron, tools, household items, and shells for 10-inch mortars. As the years went by and new owners took over, the Catoctin Furnace evolved into a self-sufficient community. It boasted vast stretches of land, numerous houses, mills, a company store, farms, and even a railroad. It was a thriving hub of activity with 3 charcoal furnaces and a coal furnace to its name. Sadly, today only the small village of Catoctin remains, with the ruins of the furnace lying just north of it and east of US 15. Maryland has several other ghost towns, each with its own unique history. You'll find iron forges, lumber towns, old military posts, and even a gold camp that was nothing more than a few tents and brush huts. While the western ghost towns may be more popular, the mid-Atlantic states of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Maryland have a rich history of their own. These towns are much older, some dating back 100 to 200 years. Keep in mind that many of these sites are on private property, so always ask for permission before detecting. So if you're up for the challenge, the mid-Atlantic ghost towns are calling out to you. As I traversed the abandoned highways of our nation, I couldn't help but notice the small businesses, rest stops, schools, and ancient buildings that had been left to decay. Yet, to a detectorist like myself, these forgotten places were a treasure trove waiting to be uncovered. While searching an old churchyard, I found a buried cache of Kennedy silver half-dollars, each in practically uncirculated condition. My search continued along the perimeter of the church fence, but to no avail. At another abandoned schoolyard, I discovered a solid silver watch fob with an impressive Aztec design, along with a plethora of coins. These ghost towns, once thriving communities, now provide a bonanza for detectorists like myself, and I can't wait to uncover more hidden treasures. Other stories in this issue of Western and Eastern Treasure include Old Timer's Tip Leads to Gold, Old Sites and Older Finds, A Little Bit of Adventure, and many more. If you're interested in purchasing a copy of this vintage magazine for yourself, or as a gift for a friend or loved one, please click the link in the description.